So the biggest concern we have with this new setup that the government has proposed and is implementing right now is that it actually isn't a regulatory body. It's a body that has the powers of an investigatory authority.
They just engineered the artificial situation and just trying to convince the public that there is a situation that this kind of harsh law should be there against the media. We want more things to be done in a technical level to increase the professional standards of the journalists.
If you look at the law in question, the mandate, the overbroad, overarching responsibilities of the commission, it is not practical to implement it.
Welcome to another edition of Insight. The Maldives Parliament on September 16th passed a bill called Maldives Media and Broadcast Regulation. And it has become an act now. It has passed in the Parliament. The idea of this is to establish a common Maldives Media, to merge the Maldives Media Council and the Broadcast Commission. And now they have established a Media and Broadcasting Commission. To talk more about this, we have Junaid Saleem, Executive Director of Maldives Journalists Association, and its President Ahamed Naaid. Welcome to the Insight Show. So you are here in Sri Lanka to talk about this, particularly this bill or the law. Why is it so important for you all as journalists?
So, like you mentioned when you started, the purpose was to combine or merge these two bodies. So earlier we had the Media Council, which was a self-regulatory body without any political appointees or any political interference. So we had 7 members from the public, 8 members from the journalist community who were elected by media outlets to govern print and online media in the country. And this body was independent. The governments couldn't exert any influence on the media council. So originally, that's where the idea to merge came from, because the Broadcasting Commission is a presidentially appointed commission. They had whoever was in power, whichever government, they had influence over the Broadcasting Commission. So they wanted a similar mechanism where they can influence the decisions made by the the Media Council as well. So the biggest concern we have with this new setup that the government has proposed and is implementing right now is that it actually isn't a regulatory body. It's a body that has the powers of an investigatory authority, like summoning individuals for questioning, summoning documents, using the police to knock on doors and even raid media organizations to find documents, and also to decide whether something is true or false. So this is a truth commission in essence. And initially in September, when they proposed this, we started advocating against it. We said we are not against regulating the media industry. We understand there are issues with the Media Council and these issues need to be resolved. But we can't allow the government of any time or politicians to control the media through this mechanism. So that is what we were advocating against. But despite all our efforts, it was rushed through the parliament and it's now law. So we are very much concerned that this is going to be used by the government to suppress the media, to stop reporting on corruption scandals, to stop reporting on serious issues that the country is facing right now. So we are working with the journalists in the country to see how we can respond to this situation.
Now, if you see the objectives and the scope of this bill this is given by the government, right?
Yes.
It says to safeguard the constitutional right of freedom of expression, to promote journalistic freedom while reinforcing standards of professional responsibility, to establish clear standards, guidelines, and code of conduct for broadcasters, media organizations, and personals. So there are a few things. I mean, why do you say this is bad?
Yeah, on paper these things are very nice, very good concepts, and and I think these are the only clauses that is positive to the media and the media freedom. What the government, even when first they introduced this law to the parliament, what they were saying is that we are introducing this law to safeguard the people's dignity and to stop the misinformation campaigns by the media. But it's all false, and those are the stories that the government they just engineered the artificial situation and just trying to convince the public that there is a situation that this kind of harsh law should be there against the media. But it's not true at all. When you go through the whole bill as a whole, and the other things when you connect all the dots and the other things the government are right now doing, then you'll see what is the path the government is going. So in the bill, the formation is also very attractive on paper. Like it's like 4 members from the media side and the other 3 from the appointed by the parliament. So they'll just say that this commission have a majority of the media houses. But in practice, what they did is that they just flawed the whole electoral process. When they announced the voters list of the media organizations that can vote in the election, there were like 300 media outlets. But if even you, Shihar, when you even think like on a population of 300,000 having 300 plus media outlets, it's really not a realistic number that is. So most of these media outlets are like ghost media outlets, or media outlets that are not publishing any news. They're just registered dormant media outlets. So then there were like 4 candidates, 5 candidates put out their names to contest for the media slots. But the thing happened is that at the last moment, one candidate withdrew the name, and we suspect that this is an attempt by the this is an attempt by the government to fix the election.
But Naif, what we hear is the journalists also boycotted this the election and the whole proposal. And did this boycott give the government to go forward with what they want, or how do you see that?
Yeah, when almost all the no credible media house fielded a candidate to this election. So it's very clear that there's no support from the media community of the Maldives to this commission. And this commission, before even forming this commission, they have lost all the credibility. So there's no credibility to this commission. So that's why we are trying to form our own media, our own self-regulatory mechanism by the media, for the press freedom.
But if the media has been there for a long time and they have been struggling to be independent. I know the Maldives situation, right? Most of them, they are either with the government or one or the other political parties. So given that background, do you see this bill is more detrimental to the current situation?
Yeah. Can you repeat?
Given the situation in the media situation, I mean, journalists I'm not saying they are biased, but they are affiliated to one or the other party. And they work related, the party related media organization. Given that there is a question arising about their independence, right? So I mean, do you see this bill is more dangerous or more detrimental to the current situation?
Yes, yes, obviously, because when there were Media Council and the Maldives Broadcasting Commission, the Media Council do not have any power to take punitive measures on the media houses or against the journalists. But this commission have autonomous powers to cancel the licenses, to suspend the licenses, to fine the media houses that they see goes against the narrative of the government. So I think this will bring chilling effect to the media freedom in the Maldives, and this will I will say this will kill this will kill many media outlets that are struggling right now. And even because of this, when we see the media community in the Maldives, you see there's only one surviving print paper right now, one print, and all others are digital medias, and they are struggling with the finances, with the technical expertise and all of that. So we do not think that this kind of harsh bill will do anything good to the media community. What media community needs right now is the support from the government, from the state, and we do not need the government.
What kind of support are you referring to here?
Yeah, actually the support is that the right now what the governments, all the successive governments are doing is that they are weaponizing the state enterprises to fund the media organizations to push forward their narratives. We want that to stop. We want to give media outlets sponsorships or any other. We do not want government to give handouts. We want to empower the media houses within, for example, in building capacity, training more journalists. There is a skill shortage in the Maldives in terms of the journalists and media professionals. So we want more scholarships from the government, more budget on training journalists, and we want more things to be done in a technical level to increase the professional standards of the journalists. When you punish someone, it doesn't mean that it's not effective, that the media will automatically be more ethical, they will be not biased. It's not like that.
Junaid,
I think just to add to that, what's detrimental here is right now, even with the biases you mentioned, the political affiliations you mentioned, we have a media that covers the spectrum of political voices in the country. We have media outlets that represent the political voices in the country across different partisan groups as well. So the danger is that with this bill, the government is targeting, the bill is designed to arbitrarily go after critical voices that are dissenting, raising concerns about government issues, whether they are opposition aligned or not. So this creates a media ecosystem where you only have one voice instead of the pluralistic landscape we have right now.
Junaid, you both spoke about you want to have a self-regulated media council. Now, if you take other countries in the region, they have this, right? Even in Sri Lanka, you have this press council commission. Why didn't you have this among yourself? I mean, we have seen a divided, journalist or the media community in Maldives, right? As I told you earlier, they are divided between the parties, right? So that division did not allow you all to get together collectively, decide on a commission. Why didn't you all think about this earlier?
I don't think there was a need for this earlier, because the Maldives Media Council, like I mentioned, was self-regulated. It was statutory. It was created by an act of parliament, but still it was a self-regulatory mechanism that allowed media outlets to be represented on this and the public to be represented on this. So I think in terms of why there's no effort to create a media council before, there was no need. But on top of that, all the media organizations in the country, including NGOs like MJA, has been advocating to improve the system. There are issues with the now defunct media council. So these are the issues. We need to address these issues by amending these provisions. So this conversation has been going in the Maldives. But beyond that, the media council was a consultative set up through a consultative process. The draft of the original bill was actually compiled by UNESCO, and they had consultations with journalists before they presented it to Parliament, and then the whole process outlined in this act that's now void is consultative. So, for example, with the Code of
Do you
Ethics,
say there was no consultation at all with the journalists on this?
with the current bill, there was no consultations. It was just submitted to the Parliament.
Because I remember there was a proposal to merge these both of these institutions, Maldives Media Council and the Broadcasting Commission, right? Which were two separate bodies earlier. But now what you say is that there was no consultation.
So this idea to merge the bodies, it's been going around since I think 2016. But there was
even
no
under Yamin,
under Yamin, under Saleem.
Yeah.
But there was no concrete proposals by anyone. It's just an idea, mostly the reason that they showed us was, having two different bodies is expensive. It's strainedness on the budget. So, and just saying, we need to merge these bodies, but without any concrete proposal or idea as to what it would look like. So, but MJ has been working on this. We actually proposed a white paper in 2021, I think, on merging, the conversations going around within the community. And following that, so this bill, there was the original attempt for this bill was in November last year. They submitted the similar, almost the same bill to the Parliament, and then it was withdrawn after journalists protested, and the president said that he did not support this. And following that, MJ has worked with foreign international experts on media freedom and freedom of expression to actually do a review of the current legal framework for these issues, these rights, and compiled a comprehensive plan for change that will strengthen media regulation, that will strengthen freedom of the media.
But what you said, you basically gave some recommendation to amend in the last November bill.
Yeah.
Okay.
So no, after the bill was withdrawn, we proposed a different. So we did a review, and then based on that review, we proposed a blueprint for change. That's the title of the document. So in this document, we highlighted different acts that need to be, or different provisions in different acts that need to be amended. Not wholesale change or systemic change like overhauling a system, but instead looking at the current system and seeing what didn't work, what does work, and then proposing alternatives to strengthen regulation and these rights. But this was dismissed by the government. They didn't respond to it. We actually held a forum where the Attorney General's office had a representative present. There were MPs present where we presented the recommendations, but we didn't have any avenue to actually have constructive dialogue with the government on those recommendations.
Okay. Now, what you say is the president himself did not support in last November.
Yeah.
And his own government led by People National Congress that passed the same bill this year, right?
Yes.
So what was the change between the last November and this September?
We don't know the exact reason, but we suspect that the government's patterns are more directed to a path of controlling the public's narrative. So
why?
It's because this government is becoming unpopular day by day.
Why?
There are so many reasons for that. It's because one of the the biggest supporter of the President Muiz is the former president, the strongman Yamin Abdul Gayoom. But he withdrew the support to the government, and he formed his own party called People's National Front (PNF). So he's very critical to the government, holding public forums, televised public forums, criticizing the government economic policies and all. And even this, the other thing is that our economy is technically in a very dire situation, and it's getting worse day by day, and next year would be a test for us. It's because there is a $500 million sukuk bond getting due, and there's $100 million to the private creditors, and there is $100 bond that's a euro bond going to mature in the same next year, and there is one more currency swap facility with the Reserve Bank of India, and they are what we are hearing is that the Reserve Bank of India had extended this for another 1 year. So next year it will be like more than $1 billion we have to pay to the external sources. I mean the external sources is to pay the debt. So next year we will be much more cash strapped nation. So this will make our inflation go higher. And even now, with all the subsidies there in place, all our inflation is all-time high. Like it's like now if we go into the real numbers, it's like a double-digit inflation right now. So the households are suffering, and the government is becoming more and more unpopular because of all these things. And but at the same time, the government's expenses are getting higher and higher. More and more political employees, and more cosmetic projects, and the accusation of corruption, and the embezzlement of public funds through SOEs is becoming a common thing right now.
Is there any controls? Is there any control in place banning y'all from reporting?
If we still don't know how this commission and what extent that this commission will use its powers until they publicize the rules and regulations under this new law. So, but we think that they will go after the selective media outlets to set example to others. So when if they just suspend one broadcaster's license, then the others will self-censorship will go to a self-censorship. Right now, our self-censorship is very high within our media industry. So this will become worse and worse because we are very afraid to. Most of us are hesitant to report corruptions regarding the state-owned enterprises. It's because most of the advertising funds, revenues comes from these state-owned enterprises. So many media outlets are hesitant to, report corruption on these state-owned enterprises. Most of the corruptions happen within these state-owned enterprises. Embezzlements happen within those state enterprises. But for example, if a media outlet reports on a corruption case related to a state-owned enterprise, then the MD of that company will call to the editors or the owners of the paper, and they'll just request to retract or republish the article. I mean, to take down the article. So this is a very common thing happening within our media community. So these things will become worse and worse when this commission start their work. So we are still don't know which extent they will go.
The thing is, Shihar, if you look at the law in question, the mandate, the broad overarching responsibilities of the commission, it is not practical to implement it. There's no authority or agency in the country, in Maldives, who can actually implement what this law asks to be done, because it's so broad. Like, for example, electronic media, the definition includes the internet as a whole. So technically, if you look at it, this includes corporate websites, anything on the internet, basically. So we don't have the resources. This commission definitely is not going to have the resources to implement this law. So the only way they you can implement this law is arbitrarily going after selective media outlets, selective journalists who are reporting on these issues and targeting them. So right now, the commission is still working, I think, on setting up the regulations and the guidelines and code of ethics, whatever. So when they start implementing, we can only say, okay, this is. But looking at the regulation law, we can say you can't do it fairly. It has to be arbitrary.
Junaid, given the current situation in Maldives, current affiliation of journalists to political parties, their reporting is questioned, and also we have seen incidents of defamation, right? So what is the mechanism in place to tackle the defamation at the moment? I mean, before this commission came into exist.
So one process is to go through the media council. So if you submit a complaint to the media council, the media council will look at the complaint, measure it against the code of ethics, see if there is any violation, and then even before that, you can go directly to the journalist or to the editor of the newspaper. So that's the first layer. The second layer is the media council. And if you're unhappy with the media council's decision, you can actually contest it as well. But beyond this, there is also you can sue for defamation. You can go to the court, and there has been instances, even recently, the First Lady sued one opposition activist for defamation regarding a case where the family's interests were put on the public fora, and she actually won the case in court. So there are all these avenues already to address defamation before this law came into being.
Let's talk about the politics a little bit in Maldives. Now, Moaz came to power with one slogan, "India out," right?
Yeah.
And he had he was basically seen as a pro-Chinese leader. What's the current situation?
Now the current government is much more aligned, much more bent to the Indian side. What we see right now, and what we see when we analyze the whole situation, is that this government came to power by running a very vast misinformation campaign that you mentioned, India Out, and it's a very carefully curated misinformation campaign. Disinformation campaign by the current government, by the current president as well. He was one of the leading figures in that campaign, and I think this media law, the media control law, is also because the current president knows very well how effective it would be to run a disinformation campaign through media outlets, and that people might start believing that, and the opposition MDP might also start something the same as what they did when they were in the opposition. So I think the current president want to stop the same scenario happening right now. So, for example, if MDP...
So basically, do you say that this is to stop disinformation and misinformation?
No, we don't see it that way, because we gave many other options to tackle the misinformation and disinformation. For example, we told the government to empower fact checkers, and we can give more incentives to the newsrooms to start fact-checking mechanisms, and there were many other options that we proposed. So this is not regarding that stopping misinformation or disinformation. This is about the president want to control the public's narrative, and even this president is very much very much sensitive to the public's discrimination to the government. He regularly checked the social media narratives, what the people were saying in social media by himself, not by his staff. So I think he wants the other thing, what Junaid also mentioned, is that in this law there were some terms are very broadly defined. For example, electronic media, it means that anything on the internet, internet. So this will fall to the social media as well. So this commission can go after the people who are very critical to the government in the social media. They can go after those people, and they can suspend these accounts, and or they can try to ask the courts to issue orders to suspend these accounts. So what we suspect is also they are going to replicate a same measures that were that are in place right now in India. Because what India is doing is that they are just a commission asking the courts to issue an order to geo-block the social media accounts. So even this government tried, like Hassan Kursi, and Hassan Kursi, there's one very famous account in X. So this government tried to block that account many times, but it failed. So we think that this commission might go after after these kind of accounts, and they will ask the criminal court to issue an order on the basis of national security, public disorder, or public safety, and all of these these instances, and they will going to then they can submit these court orders to the X and ask them to geo-block these accounts like Hassan Kursi or other critical accounts. And this law allows security forces to confiscate the e-devices like mobile phones, laptops of the people who are suspected of running these kind of accounts. So I think this government is trying to control the public's narrative within the social media space as well.
We are almost short of time. Running out of time. But Junaid, now there is an allegation from every government. I mean, this has been from every government, not from the current government, but every government, that the journalists who are affiliated to opposition parties, they try to put pressure on the government through this kind of protest campaign, and then they go to this international community, diplomats, embassies, high commissions, and basically to put pressure on the government. I mean, how do you see this allegation?
It's something like you mentioned, we are very familiar with. We've been accused of this multiple times. But if you look at the history of MJA and its members and the people organizing this campaign and this movement, you'll find that we protested these same sort of regulatory measures during Yamin's government from 2013 to 2018. In Saleh's administration, we protested the introduction of the source disclosure provisions in the evidence bill. And now with this government, we are protesting this. So in every government, whenever there is an instance, those are just to name a few. We've been out there, we've protested it, we've raised our voices. So it's a completely unfounded allegations, and everyone in the Maldives who can see the same faces protesting the same issue across different governments, whether MDP or PPM or PNC, we'll see that this is not political or partisan.
But there is a lot of conflict of interest. I mean, when there is a government coming into power, journalists affiliated to their party, that party become basically they hold high office like media spokesman, media coordinator, and then when that party get defeated in the next election, they go as journalist. I mean, how do you see that dual role? I mean, this happens for a long time, and I don't blame this, because Maldives has very less journalist community, right? Yeah. That I understand. So I mean, how do you see that in terms of in ensuring the independence of journalism and journalists?
I think the number of journalists who has gone into politics or politically appointed positions and then returned into serious journalism is very few, not a big number. Even now, if you look at during Saleh's administration, a lot of journalists quit journalism. They went into roles like you mentioned, spokespeople, and out of that, I don't know. I think only one or two people are currently back in journalism. So in terms of that, I think at the end of the day, it's on the up to the public to decide whether they can trust these journalists. Because for me personally, it's not something I would do. I wouldn't go into a political position and then try to come back into journalism. I don't think that's right. In terms of credibility alone, but I think these instances are very few. And the wider allegation that MJA or journalists are mouthpieces of a particular political party is unfounded and is a move to discredit serious work that we are doing to promote and advocate for press freedom.
One last question, both of you all. Just give me in one word, how do you see the new Media and Broadcasting Commission? Just one word.
It is going to kill the
One word.
free press.
One word.
Draconian.
Thank you, Junaid, Saleem, Executive Director of Maldives Journalists Association, and Ahamed Naaid, President of MJA or Maldives Journalists Association, for your insight on the new Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission Act Bill. Right. Thank you for watching us inside. Until we meet in another episode, have a good day.